Welcome. Let's talk Broncos. Bree Maestas, Joey Richards, Zach Seegers. Joey, first and foremost, happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Bree. I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody on Twitter that wished me a happy birthday as well. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Zach, how are you?
I'm doing well. Sorry, everybody, for missing the post-game show today. I was running KOA's Broncos broadcast for the first time
Unacceptable.
ever. Yeah, but do wish I could have done the post-game show. That would have been fun, but I didn't get home until like 1 a.m., so that was not going to happen. But excited to be sharing my thoughts a little later with y'all today.
Could you imagine the degenerate behavior of watching a post-game react at 2:00 in the morning? Like, it just takes a real one.
After I had done like a 8-9 hour shift, man, my thoughts were absolute mush at that point. It would have been bad.
What a nice game. What a fun game. What a good win. Glad that we can celebrate a victory week for the Denver Broncos. I just wanted to pull attention to my favorite part of the night, though. I went and stopped and got the Broncos nuggies from the stadium. I did pay stadium prices for Tyson chicken nuggets, not sponsored. But a lovely Twitter follower, I believe Randy Marsh is the Twitter handle, put a little smiley face on here because, contrary to what I was led to believe, I don't know if this really resembles the Broncos head as it is depicted on the box, but I will say I love the creativity here, and they were delicious nonetheless. So shouts out to that Twitter follower and the Tyson chicken nuggets that got me through that game. I was starving by the time I got there. Traffic was terrible, but it was worth it for some Monday Night Football. Broncos back in prime time, finishing off week 4 strong. We've had some time to digest the game. And thankfully, we're not in somber spirits because the Broncos look like they're on the up and up. All 3 phases of the game look like they were functioning. I know that we're going to call into question some things, some takeaways, but let's get into the meat of it. I'm trying to delay what I feel is a hesitation as we kind of turn our attention to week 5. It's a big road test. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. Nothing to really be too excited about, but I love what went right against Cincinnati, and there was a couple of standouts here. So let's dive into it before we get into the Eagles preview. There's a little bit of news and some probably pretty positive news coming back that there may be the ability to see Malcolm Roach and Drew Sanders come back to the roster prior to that Eagles matchup. But I find this especially valuable. Joey, I'm going to ask you first, on top of all the news, how big is it that those two could be back this week in order to start week 5 off strong?
Roach is a big one, especially versus a run-heavy team in Philadelphia. If he came back 100%, that's a big one for the Broncos. Interior defensive line is one of those positions where you rotate a lot. You want fresh bodies in there. And Malcolm Roach, we saw it last year. When Malcolm Roach is healthy, he is a hell of a run defender for this team. Going up against Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, you know what Philadelphia can do when running the football. So that would be a big one. Drew Sanders, I don't really think he has a spot starting or playing meaningful snaps on defense. I think what his contribution would be is more on the special team side. I think where he could be meaningful possibly. I mean, if you want to look for good special teams players, I think run and hit are 2 of the most important things, and that's one thing Drew Sanders can really do. But as far as defense, I don't think he's going to play this year. I don't think he's going to play a lot. Or if he does, it's because Dre Greenlaw hasn't gone back, and then Justin Strnad also got hurt. Then maybe we see Drew Sanders out there. But as far as meaningful snaps, I don't really see it.
I agree on Roach. I disagree on Drew Sanders. I think, especially when you see Alex Singleton struggling so much, Strnad struggling a fair bit, I think when Dre Greenlaw does come back, at the least, I don't know if they'll do it because Singleton's a defensive captain, but there should be a hard conversation had about which linebacker is exiting the lineup.
That's what I was going to ask you.
I don't even think I'm being a Singleton hater here. I'm not saying Strnad's been amazing, but Singleton, I think, has been the more glaring hole in coverage, more missed tackles than Strnad so far this season. Just for example, on Monday night against the Bengals, Sternad targeted just 1 time. Singleton targeted 5 times, allowed 5 receptions. The only guy targeted more than Singleton was Riley Moss. He only allowed 2 receptions. Like Singleton is, I think, the weak link of this defense in so many ways, where I think it's at least, and that's even with Sternad on the field right now, man, I would really have to consider that when Greenlaw comes back. And I think even more so with Sanders back, like I think both Sternad and Singleton are kind of liabilities to the point where there's very little preventing Drew Sanders from playing outside of himself.
That I agree, but you also have to think, I mean, I don't know how much the staff really trusts him at this point with the injuries coming on and off of injury. And then I don't think they even know what they have there at this point, which is crazy, right? It's not J.K. Dobbins where we saw him be productive, got hurt, now he's coming back. This is a player that's got hurt multiple times, and we've yet to really see him do anything productive out there, which is what's spooky, I guess, in that facet. I do, though, Zach, understand your point that the Broncos linebackers, I mean, they've sucked this year. I don't even think there's any other way around it. Bree and I were going back and forth, and Bree, if you want to take it after this, go ahead. We were texting back and forth about Alex Singleton on that first drive. Holy, I was pulling my hair out. I mean, I counted 3 missed tackles on that first drive. I then throughout the game, it felt like, I mean, once you see a guy miss that many tackles, now you're like kind of laser focused on him, which is a little unfair. But I'm watching guys, even when he's pulling guys down, they're driving them forward. They're gaining 2 or 3 extra yards after it. It was infuriating watching them.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of slip tackling going on there, which leads to a little bit of frustration. We have in the past used a number of tackles to really bolster the emphasis of why Alex Singleton is important there in the midfield, but I think it's enough to warrant a question mark when that continuously seems to be the weak point of this Denver Broncos defense of what exactly is the precipice of what Vance Joseph is trying to do. You have teams struggling against the front 7 for Denver, and they seem to be doing an incredible job, especially against the run, as you pointed out there, Joey. And then you have a secondary that seems to be lights out. Riley Moss is holding his own. Patrick Surtain is obviously Defensive Player of the Year. And then you have a multitude of depth pieces that leave the DBs in a great realm. So in the middle of the field, you see a little bit of struggling within that linebacker core. And that's why I wonder if Drew Sanders would actually provide appreciable difference or it would just be a different body out there. Because at this point, I think Alex Singleton is a spot in which he actually holds value, but which we aren't able to really see past the mistakes that are currently piling up. And it is difficult. You mentioned the injury, but I worry a little bit about what the emphasis is and what we're not seeing. And if that's just a part of the bend, don't break mentality, that you can afford a little bit of those yards through the middle and it starts to stack up there. If you start leading the league in tackles, part of me thinks that it's the opposition trying to find that liability in the weak spot there, which we're starting to see kind of break down, especially with Alex Singleton. But then once you start missing tackles, that's when it's going to start adding up to a lot of yardage and first downs, which we're seeing now. And Joey, you mentioned a really important piece that it's all great in the pass game if you have the safeties coming downhill. I mean, if you utilize Hufanga the way that you need to and run him as an additional linebacker, then I think you can suffocate out some of those issues. But what I'm worried about is the Philadelphia Eagles. I know we're recapping the Bengals game, but the Eagles just run the ball. Like, they're incredibly great at it. I don't know why they would try to get away from that. And if they're not seeing any sort of contention there, you start seeing Singleton as somebody that opponents, maybe Browning's not the best case scenario here, but you're going to see quarterbacks start to take notice of that liability. I was looking it up just real quick on the year. The Eagles have 454 rushing yards and 552 passing. So a little bit worrisome when you think about, what could they do if they turn that up a notch and maybe exacerbated the issue in the missed tackles. Zach, I'm interested to hear your take, though, a little bit more on, maybe it's not Sanders, but I want you to give me an idea of how you think other defenses in the NFL are stacking up when it comes to their inside linebackers and how that sort of is it a pain point for the Denver Broncos defense specifically because it's their weakest link, or are we seeing this kind of mimicked throughout the league?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like, I think there's not a lot of good linebacker play in the league right now. So I think a lot of the best offenses attack that position pretty consistently. The Eagles, who you just highlighted, of course, do that at a very high level with Saquon and Dallas Goedert. Shanahan's done that for a long time. McVay's done that for a long time. Their whole tree's done that a lot. So I think it's a consistent theme. I also think the Broncos linebacker group until Dre Greenlaw gets back is really suspect. I'm seeing different tackle counts. I saw one thing where Alex Singleton's tackle numbers were still down, but it looks like in terms of old-fashioned combined tackles, he's still performing pretty well. PFF has it weirdly low, but he is still missing a lot of tackles. I think he has been a problem in coverage, and like this Eagles team is going to really, really test them, both in like they primarily want to run the ball, but when they pass the ball, they want to attack with Dallas Goedert. They want to attack with Saquon Barkley, and that's a problem. I'd also say I think it's not just the weak point because like relatively speaking, Riley Moss is maybe the weak point at cornerback. Look at Monday night's game. Relative to Surtain, that's who you're going to target. He gets targeted 7 times. He only allows the 2 receptions. In the middle of the field there, Singleton gets targeted 5 times. It's 5 receptions. Strnad, they only look at once. And I think that, it's not perfect, and that's only one game, but I think that kind of evidences it. And to knock Strnad too, going back to last year, like down the stretch when the Broncos defense was struggling against the Browns and the Bengals and yada, yada. Yes, the cornerback health was a big part of that. Another big part was over that span, quarterbacks targeting the linebackers were like 29 of 32 or something ridiculous like that. You can't have it go back to that. And I am worried it's trending in that direction. Really hope that quad gets healthy soon for Greenlaw.
Absolutely. And I'm still in team half of a season out of Greenlaw is better than no Greenlaw. Let's move from inside to outside, because the 1-2 punch of Jonathan Cooper and Nick Bonitto becomes more exciting every single week. Have to give major props there. Yes, I want to praise all of the defense all the time. Jonathan Franklin Myers walked away with a sack. Jonah Ellis was a little bit quiet, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't consistently providing pressure. And Zach Allen was under much duress as he was being blocked by multiple Bengals all at once. But Nick Bonitto and Jonathan Cooper are on a different planet with Cooper's enthusiasm, whether it be passion derivative or not. I saw him yelling at Nick Bonitto as Bonitto had gotten a sack and he was coming to the sideline, and he was amped up in only a way I could tell was they were either celebrating or he was providing critique. I couldn't tell if it was negative or positive, but I absolutely love that. And I love the combination. The excitement in Broncos country is liking it to another pair here for the Denver Broncos that we're all very fond of, and a Von Miller to Marcus Ware-ish-esque capability. I'm excited about it, and I can't wait to see the build upon it. But between the two, I believe it was 2 sacks or 1 or 2.5 between the two. So super exciting. Yes, Zach, please provide the stat that came into your mind.
That brings Nick Bonitto to 4.5 on the season. He's now half a sack behind the league lead. Two guys right now have 5. That's I think Byron Young and Brian Burns. So yeah, Nick Bonitto tied for 3rd right now. I was hoping he'd get one more and we'd see him get to 1st place. What a season.
Defensive player of the year ? Joey?
Man, I mean, he's on a tear right now. I wouldn't rule it out. I don't think we're there. I think we're too early in the season to have like a defensive player of the year favorite, in my opinion, or have a guy that I'm like pounding the table for. But that's not out of the picture. He's playing out of his mind, right? And this is a guy that, Bree, I was a little skeptical. I'm like, I need to see it into year 2 of this type of stuff before I'm going to feel really comfortable giving him that contract, right? Man, he's making me eat my words crazy because he is putting it together and he even looks a little better. I think, than last year. And how consistent he's like it is getting to the quarterback. He's playing crazy good. He's almost one of those guys where, during the game, there's so much to pay attention to. There's so many different positions. Where am I looking? What's happening? Nick Bonito pops like probably one in every other time he's on the field. I'm like, who was that? And it was Nick Bonito. Nick Bonito is crazy good. So he's awesome. And then Jonathan Cooper as well. I just want to add this on here. How does this guy keep getting better year after year? Like, we all talk about, hey, NFL career isn't like Madden. It's not like they get 2+ overall better year after year. Jonathan Cooper's the exception because he kind of does. Every year since he's been drafted, he gets a little better until we're here right now. And I'm like, damn, he is a really good edge for this team.
And Nick Bonito, I think, follows that same mold where I remember every single year on this show, we've had the conversation of like, year one, he didn't do a whole lot. And we were like, oh, I hope he looks like a good pass rusher in year two. And then he was a designated pass rusher in year two, but he was like the most productive per snap pass rusher on the team. And it was like, whoa, that was maybe a little better than we were expecting. But he's probably not going to grow much beyond that. And then you had last season where it was absolutely insane. And we had the same conversation where it was like, okay, but he was a borderline defensive player of the year candidate. I don't know how much better than that. And he had what, 13.5 sacks. I don't know how much better than that it's going to get. And oh my God, he's on pace for what, 18 and some change, like 19, I guess. And like Joey said, we're only a quarter of the way into the season. But on top of having the 4.5 sacks and that being tied for third in the league right now, he's leading the NFL in pressures. He's leading the NFL in pass rush productivity score, which is one I really love. It looks at pressure, sacks, quarterback hits, weights those accordingly, and looks at how frequently you're creating them. Number one in the league by a wide margin right now. The gap between him and the next best edge is the gap between that second place edge and 17th place, which by the way is Jonah Ellis. Funny to see that pop up. And then he also is near the top of the league, 10th in pass rush win rate. I mean, if he keeps that up over an entire year, and we're sitting here in, start of January, he's got 18 sacks, leading the league in pressures. I think he's at least on the short list, and we'll be going to the NFL honor show to see whether or not he wins.
It's crazy. I was thinking about this today. This is the defense in a team, right, with Patrick Surtain on it. And I think at least this far through the season, your best player on the team has been Nick Bonito. Your best, which also means your best defender on the team has been Nick Bonito. Yep. We're talking about the defending defensive player of the year on the same team. And I'm like, on that guy's team, though, I'm sitting so far through this year, and I'm thinking there's another guy even better than him right now through so far how they've played. Nick Bonito has been awesome.
Yeah, obviously hard to weight positional groups against each other, but I think the play stands for itself. The splashiness does as well. And listen, if you're making a case for a sack every single time you get close to that quarterback, it's almost just as good. I love to see Jake Browning under pressure. I love to see all the quarterbacks coming up. I don't know if you're going to get a whole ton of pressure off of Jalen Hurts, but we shall see.
Bree, really quick, before you beautifully segue us into something else, I've got another fun, quick stat tidbit. If the Broncos do somehow get Nick Bonito Defensive Player of the Year and, teammates winning back-to-back Defensive Players of the Year awards, it would be the first time since Ray Lewis and Ed Reed in 2003 and 2004. Other duos, which that'd be pretty cool to be mentioned in that group. Other duos that have done it, and this is where it gets kind of weird because you're Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. You're like, oh yeah, of course those guys did it. Other duos, Bruce Smith with the Buffalo Bills, all-time sack leader. He did it right after Bryce Paup, who I've never heard of before in my life.
That's not a real name. That's not a real person.
He won it 4 years before I was born. I don't think that man existed. But Bryce Paup and Bruce Smith back-to-back years for the Buffalo.
I think I worked with the Bryce Paup.
And then the only other one I'm seeing, let me make sure I'm not missing one. Yes, the only other one is the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1974, 75, and 76 had 3 different dudes do it. Joe Green in 74, Mel Blount in 75, and Jack Lambert in 76.
Now those names ring a bell. Fantastic historical data, Zach. I love the fact that I am rhyming all night long, and it is a complete crime against humanity because I'm not attempting to. But Zach, the polls, the historical data, it is so fascinating to watch your mind work and to bring all of that information from a time in which none of us were able to participate in. So thank you for that. My segue, done, dusted, burnt to the ground, but that's all right.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. There was no way to recover, and I decided to just like fall off the horse. I do this thing with my family, and we call it confidence levels. So it's 1 to 100, right? And just quickly, the confidence level is Jonathan Franklin Myers re-up. And again, 1 least amount of confidence, 100 is most amount of confidence. And I'll check in, I'll temperature check later in the season. But as we stand coming off a fresh, beautiful sack there on Jake Browning, Joey, you can go first. 1 to 100.
I'm going to go 70 right now. Can I give my reason why?
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's been another interior guy that the Broncos can look at and say they can replace him with. And I think that's kind of what the Broncos were hoping for at this point, is that they had somebody come in. It's like Malcolm Roach looks healthy for 2 years in a row. That could be the guy that replaces him, and then we just have to get a backup to rotate in there, you know? Or Owazurike's taken the next step to be a rotational level guy, and he hasn't done that. So I do think that they could re-sign Jonathan Franklin Myers, and because of the other issues that have happened, or not the other issues, quote unquote, I would say more so nobody else stepping up to the plate and hitting the home run. It's making it seem like he's more of a necessity than he is just a player that you have on your team. It's, we're talking necessities. That's a guy that you want back on your team.
Yeah.
Oh man. It's a great question. I'll go a little more pessimistically. I think I'll say 40.
You're leaning that he won't.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning no. You just already have so much invested up front with that line. DJ Jones, Zach Allen, Nick Benito, Jonathan Cooper. It's a very expensive defensive line. You sign John Franklin Myers, I think it'd be far and away the most expensive defensive front in football, which, I mean, you can do. Someone's got to be number one, but it would be a huge expenditure in that one position group. And again, they play up to it. You see the pressure this group creates consistently. I don't think it would be like misaligned, which is where you really get into trouble, like the Russell Wilson situation. But I think it'd be a little hard to justify. Now, that said, man, the Broncos have rich ownership, and that's pretty sweet. It allows you to play a lot of fun cap games. Sean Payton and George Payton both value the trenches, offensive and defensive. I wish maybe we were drafting a few more offensive linemen, but that's something worth circling back to later. They clearly value the defensive line a lot. They just keep stacking resources into it. Like, I meant to mention it during the Benito conversation, but part of the reason you're getting this version of Benito and something that might hurt him in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation is that he's only playing like 60-70% of the snaps. And I don't think that's because they view him as limited. I think he's taken serious strides as a run defender and whatnot. I think it's because they go, oh my God, we got Dondre Tillman and Jonah Ellis on the bench, excuse me. Why not get the best version of everybody for all these snaps and just spread them around a little more evenly? And then you see them still pour into it by drafting Savion Jones to get ready there and drafting Q Robinson. So I could see them potentially justifying such a financial expenditure, but man, it would be a lot in that one group.
And it's almost as though you want to see him moderately perform, because an over performance, if he over delivers, any sort of negotiation, player and or organizationally, could swing this conversation to a very low probability simply because he's priced himself out. But Zach, I love the point that you made. Someone's got to be first and somebody has to overspend there. Keeping this defensive front intact is a great way to maintain the young talent that presently exists on the roster and the absolute dominance that continues to happen. Thank you both for humoring me as I continue to
Good question,
fret.
Dre,
Yeah.
great question.
Yes.
I like that. If we can do
That was a
check-in
good one.
later in the season on that, I want to do it.
That was great.
That's one of those teetering ones. If you asked me earlier in the year, Bree, I would have said 20%. Now I've swung, so we don't know.
I'm gonna wait. Okay, I'll log mine at a 57%, just so we're keeping track. But yeah, we'll do some check-ins. I'll bring up some other ones, and who knows what next week is going to bring us.
The Broncos do have $40 million in cap space next year, and they don't have too many important free agents outside of John Franklin Myers.
And cash. Where's the cash?
Yeah, the cash is the big thing. Now, I will say you're getting a privately funded stadium. At least they're saying it's privately funded. I'm going to hold them to that. A privately funded stadium, that's probably going to cost, I don't know, somewhere between $5 and $10 billion. I wonder if they penny pinch a little, and I'm not now let me be very clear. I'm speculating what they might do and not defending anything. They've got like a bajillion
keep the chairs
dollars.
Tough plastic.
They've got more zeros than like God. I mean, they could buy heaven if they wanted. They're so damn wealthy. They should have no problem spending that money. But I mean, anyone who's familiar with the Cronkies spending around the Nuggets shouldn't be foreign to this concept.
That I agree. The Cronkies, though, this is a long history of just not caring, right? The Waltons are redoing the turf for no reason, like or the grass or the field. It looks great. I'm sitting there looking at it like, man, what a great field. They're like, redo it. That's what they do. That's what they do. I don't think there's going to be any of that. I think that they're just like, put money into the team. Go ahead, do it. At this point, at least, it feels like they're just nonstop investing.
I agree. I mean, they redid the seats too, that the orange layer of the first, I don't know what it was, 15 rows. They just redid. And you're like, well, if they just redid seats, why would we be getting a new stadium? Part of me thinks they're going to keep the old Mile High there for some other purpose. And
they redid the seats and the lights, and then are also saying we're building a new stadium. Why are we like if it
in
were
6 years, not
and
16.
I'm like, what was that?
In the small amount of time in which 2031 is approaching, it just felt like a wild investment.
It's crazy.
Although
it's crazy.
Never mind.
No, it's just like if I'm redoing the stadium, if it were me in there and I'm just thinking about cash, like what am I doing? I am not redoing the seats while also announcing my new stadium. I am not redoing the lights so that the camera, so they could get the droid over the stadium and get the cool picture. So right when I'm announcing a new stadium, it just seems silly, and it just seems like they're just unlimited money right now. Is what it feels.
The cynical play would be let it be a real dump, and then you're like, guys, man, I think we need a new stadium, but I don't know if I can afford it. I might need some taxpayer money. That'd be the real cynical play. But while we're on the point of stadiums, I'm going to throw Bree directly under the bus because I saw her viral tweet from the game at Monday Night Football, how she was basking in a glorious undomed stadium saying, hey, dome this, flipping off the wide open, beautiful orange and blue sky that I've often highlighted as the reason why you shouldn't put a dome on the stadium. Bree, have you seen the light? Are you now anti-dome too?
I don't know if I've ever. I need you to find that.
So vocally anti-dome. You and the
retractable roof.
Patrol.
I wanted a retractable roof. I've never said give me a dome and steal my sunshine from me.
Yeah, that's
I just don't want to be snowed on, and then everyone comes back and says it snows once every 3rd September, and you don't have to worry about anything. And I realize, yes, Zach. Let me first and foremost say you have always been right when it comes to not
Thank
taking
you.
away.
Clip it.
I shouldn't have said it so slowly. When it comes to taking away the sky as it is, I cannot believe how many people in that tweet that I sent out. If you haven't seen it yet, Bremace03. I said dome this simply because I needed a caption for a photo. That's just how analytics work. And I didn't realize it was going to go viral. That and the chicken nuggets. I had 2 bangers within an hour of themselves. Broncos country is weird. I was hungry and also staring at the sky. It's absolutely beautiful. If a retractable roof is what needs to happen, then great. In January, when it's really cold and it's 6 o'clock at night and I'm shivering, I most likely would be like, I certainly wish we could close this. But yeah, you're right. I have said some very contrary things in my time here on Let's Talk Broncos. I'd be happy to take votes to get me off the island if that's the direction that this is going. Simply, I hate the snow and I hate the cold, but that doesn't mean I can't enjoy a pretty skyline.
Yeah, and Bree, don't let Zach gaslight you into like thinking that you were wrong in this, because you weren't. Zach, here's what we can do. We'll give you the see-through dome so you can look at the sky. I don't.
That's what they should do, man. Get like a sick, like make it out of diamond or something, like a thin layer of diamond. They could afford it.
While all of us are watching the Broncos, Zach is staring at the clouds. That's what I'm hearing right now. He loves it.
I just
looking out there. Wow, it's beautiful. No, we're watching football. And let me get a little room temperature in here, right?
Man, okay. I want you to say that after you go to Coors Field and then go to like Tropicana Field in Tampa. Feels like New York in there. And I don't mean the city. I mean the shitty Vegas casino.
Careful, they're going to sue us because they don't have any patronage and they need the funds.
I'm not kidding. I walked in there. I was like, whoa, the light. It's the same way, guys. I remember when we went to Vegas together and it's like, oh, the light. They're trying to emulate the real world, but it doesn't feel right. That's how you walk in there. You expect to see like a giant cartoon rat run by you. It's odd.
A giant cartoon rat is ridiculous. Zach, thank you. No, a dome is terrible. I hate it. We got to get back into serious news, though, because it's a big topic of conversation. This week, maybe the big inflatable rat is who should be playing calls against the Eagles. It looks like all of Broncos country continues to be divided when it comes to whether or not Sean Payton is doing right by his roster and his long-term vision here for the team. I am not in favor or against. Joey's already rubbing his temple. He is tired and frustrated. Let's have a conversation. First and foremost, we got to talk about both Bo Nix's performance in relation to Sean Payton's play calling, right? Nix was sharp, spreading the ball around. There was an emphasis on diversifying the target share. He was using his legs when needed, and he stayed super efficient. I think I'm going to look real quick and cheat because I can't remember the exact yardage. 326. To me, that seems like a win, ladies and gentlemen, but ladies being me, gentlemen being you, a really balanced run pass mix. So because there was so much creativity and because it worked against the Bengals, I think Broncos country finally saw Payton's game plan that really maximized Bo Nix instead of handcuffing him, which maybe we've seen in the past. Is this the most true Sean Payton game that we've seen in a while? What is the read? And I'm going to flip the script. I started with Joey the last couple of questions. Zach, I'm going to start with you. What are we feeling as far as the play calling goes?
So one, I think you did see some strides from Sean Payton. I think you saw him utilize a bit more motion, which I liked. We saw more of the like Marvin Mims gadget stuff that they leaned into down the stretch last year that I just think like some of those easy layup wins for Bo Nix. I think we saw him lean into a more diverse menu of that. And I think you got a more confident version of Bo Nix, and he was more comfortable ripping those medium to deep passes as a result. And he hit on them on a higher rate. Now, I would argue, I don't think the offense has been constricted or like failed to be open or like overly conservative by design. I would argue it's quarterbacking, but I think you saw Peyton lean into some things that I think he should have been leaning into a while ago that just helped everything flow a little easier. Some of those easy buttons for Knicks. They also talked about, I believe in the post game, how they decided to switch from alternating the backs, depending on like which back they liked best for a given play, to rotating it based on or like a given look, to rotating it based on just drives and giving like a back a whole drive each. For the most part, there was some rotating, but they let him stay in there for a lot longer. And I think it seemed to pay some dividends in the run game, help them build some consistency there. I thought that was nice. And then I think you saw Bo's best game. Like, he largely made good decisions. He was more willing to run than he's been in past weeks. I think the one mistake he made, which was the interception, was the result of him not deciding to run. So maybe he could be a little more aggressive there, but a good step in the right direction. And then the thing I thought was most promising, we talked about it all offseason, like what were the areas of growth we wanted to see from Bo Nix, like more true quarterbacking stuff. Like, how does he perform in more straight drop back situations? And can he handle pressure when it gets thrown at him? On Monday night against the Bengals, on non-play action plays, he goes 22 of 31 for 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, had 2 quote unquote big time throws, passer rating of 114.7. On non-screen plays, 22 of 35, 62.9% completion, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the aforementioned interception. Regards to pressure, when put under pressure, he was 7 of 10 for 99 yards and a touchdown. Right, much better than what we saw last year. When blitzed, 12 of 17 for 152 and a touchdown. I mean, that's if he does, and again, Bengals, bad defense, easier opponent, blah, blah, blah. If he does anything like that all year long, this Broncos team is going to be very, very dangerous.
Yeah, I feel like here's how I've thought the whole time. I don't think there's a real like big problem out there other than Bo Nix had a couple bad games. Like, I think it's fine to just not have like a big scapegoat in, oh, Bo Nix is terrible and we need to get rid of Bo Nix now. Oh, Sean Payton's bad. We need to get rid of Sean Payton. What if somebody just isn't good for a game? Like, is that possible? Or maybe a little stretch of games? Like, we've seen all-time greats do this, like where it's just bad for a little bit and they turn it around. I saw it with Tom Brady. I saw it. Broncos fans remember. Do you remember when Peyton Manning first came to Denver and it was just bad early? Like, all-time greats have done this. Even it's just something. Bo Nix just wasn't good enough at this point, and we're looking for who to blame. We're going to throw that on to Sean Payton. That's been the issue so far, in my opinion. So many of the play calling like critiques, it's just the easiest way to critique an offense, and that's why people do it. We don't know really what we're looking at. We know it's not working. What do we blame it on? Man, this offense isn't creative. Let me reemphasize, from the TV broadcast, we can't even see the play. I just want to keep putting that out there over and over again. It's impossible to know what the pass play is watching it unless you're in the stadium like Bree while it's happening live. You don't know what the concept was. You don't know which way the quarterback should have been looking. You don't know any of this type of stuff to even critique the play calling, which is why it's so funny to me when I see a trillion tweets of it during a game. I'm like, okay, it's got to be really blatant. It can't just be like a pass play and everyone's like, man, it's too conservative. Well, it's because you didn't see the other stuff happening down the field.
I hate it I hate it when you're hearing those complaints during like the broadcast of the game, because it's like you can't see the play. I know you don't know what you're talking about because you can't even see it. Sorry, that's all.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's literally just doesn't make sense. So, and then when you watch the film and you're sitting there looking at it, okay, yes, now I'm able to sit there and diagnose the play. Where should a Bo Nix have looked on this play? And then you even have to have an understanding of the concept of the play to know this type of stuff, right? So there's even levels to that. But yeah, I just think I don't think the offense changed dramatically from the time we first started watching the Broncos this season to now. I think all that's happening, you're watching the same offense. It's just more things are implemented to the offense that's already there. The Sean Payton offense isn't changing. It's the Sean Payton offense. He has things that are staples to him that he's going to keep going back and back and back and back and forth to over and over again. But I don't know. I think we just saw Bo Nix not look great in the beginning of the season, and I'm thinking that we're going to see this turn around as we go further in. That's my honest opinion.
I respect it. I thought I froze there for a second. You were yelling, you were shaking your camera. It created much confusion for me. Guys, we're tackling a bunch of what happened, what we saw, what's coming down the pike. We can continue to address what we saw that we liked and what we saw that we didn't like. But I want to flip the script a little bit and start looking ahead at week 5. This matchup, it makes me nervous. I haven't had a whole lot of conviction when it comes to talking about a Denver Broncos win here, but I think there are some avenues in which it could become very interesting for this team, especially as they pick up some speed, gain some momentum, and look forward to traveling overseas to face the Jets. So before we get there, let's talk about what the Eagles game is going to represent. And I think one of the things that we can take away from Monday is that the emphasis on committing to the run, Zach, you already talked about giving more time for each back to have catching momentum or catching fire or what have you. J.K. Dobbins clearing the 100-yard mark at 101, 6.3 being the average yards per carry. And then R.J. Harvey at 58 yards, nothing to really be mad about. What I love is that Bo Nix he's in the top 4, but he has 7 yards, right? So if there's a designed run for Bo Nix, he's going to take it. But I think it's great that we've got J.K. Dobbins who seems to be a great choice, even with injury concerns. I think he really is loving it here in Denver with this additional shot he has at it, and he's flourishing. So looking to week 5 against the Eagles, can this run game keep it rolling against Philly's front 7? And I think it's a true test. I don't think the Bengals really offered much resistance, but I think the Eagles have a better D-line in football than you give a lot of credit for. So I love what the Broncos are doing with their running backs. And I think it's going to come down to what the O-line is going to be able to do. Are they going to create a stalemate up front, or are they going to kind of get left behind? So center play, a little bit of a question mark. How much is that going to attribute to the run? Joey, swinging around back your way. Can they keep the run going against Philly?
Joey?
Zach Seegers. I pulled a Zach Seegers.
Joey,
wow.
I'm so happy.
I think this is the first time.
I'm thrilled. It's not the first time, but I
feel crazy. I'm just kidding. I think it's a lot more difficult. I definitely think that against the Eagles than it is the Cincinnati Bengals. But I also have to give props to J.K. Dobbins, who's been like, where would the Broncos offense be if they didn't make the late offseason edition of J.K. Dobbins right now? That is a very fair question to ask. Is would they be any good right now? J.K. Dobbins has been a horse for this team from week 1 to now, and it continued then. So I think it's fair to expect a step back from this last week in the running back usage and just how effective both of them were, R.J. Harvey included in that. But I do want to see them continue put pedal to the metal there. I don't think it's time to give up on the run at all. It's not last season where it felt like anytime you gave Javonte Williams the ball, it was a 2 or 3 yard gain every single time, right? It's better than that. So keep feeding the running backs the ball. You don't have to go do every extended version of a run just to excuse not actually running the ball this year. So I would just say taking a step back from this last week is probably fair, but still effective.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Eagles' run defense is a little interesting when you look at the numbers. They are the 9th best run defense by EPA allowed, but they're the 30th, so third worst by success rate allowed. So, and success rate, easiest way to explain that's just, are you staying ahead of the sticks? So they're allowing like the run game to be pretty consistent against them down to down. But they're just not allowing any explosive runs at all, which is going to be interesting because this Broncos rushing attack has more explosive runs than just about anyone in the league right now. So I'm curious to see how kind of like that element stacks up. I do think it'll take a step back though. Bengals have one of the worst run defenses in the league. Eagles have one of the best. And then I think the other end of it is also interesting where you have an Eagles rushing attack that's really, really talented going up against this Broncos defense that ranks right next to the Eagles. They're actually almost identical in terms of rush EPA allowed. The difference is just, maybe the Broncos run defense is a little worse. The Eagles rushing attack is a lot better.
Yeah, I want to flip the script and switch sides of the ball. Can the Broncos pass rush remain effective against Philly's offensive line? Because I think this is another heavyweight battle. It's going to be their toughest matchup, and it's going to be against a caliber of team that matches up in a way that's really going to test the best parts of this roster. I'm going to call into specific. One of the keys of the game is going to be penalties. Of all the things we have to talk about, Philadelphia and Denver are pretty much in the same boat. I think it's 28 and 31, but the Broncos pass rush, we've already highlighted it. It's feasting, but Philly's line is one of the better in football. So getting consistent pressure either way is going to be huge. It's going to be the kind of the statement of the game. And we have to have a lot of consistency here when we speak of the confidence level when it comes to this Broncos defense. Will they be able to maintain that pressure moving forward? So going to Zach, how do you think that matchup fares for the Broncos defense against the offensive line of the Eagles?
I think it'll go pretty well for them, honestly. They gave Justin Herbert his highest pressure rate of his career, last week. We just saw what they did to the Bengals and Jake Browning, and that's not a great offensive line, but still, it was just utter domination. In week 2 against the Colts, like Daniel Jones diced them up, but they had a pressure rate of like 45% or something like that. And the Eagles will be the best test they face to this point, but this is also not the same Eagles line of past years. I think they're down 2 different pieces on the interior line right now. Or they're down one, and then they have the replacement with Tyler Steen, who's been a little underwhelming. So they've got kind of like 2 weaker than the normal pieces, what we're used to seeing with that Philly offensive line. So I think it's a little more exploitable. So I think they'll be able to get after it a bit. And it's important they do so, because this Eagles offense, they don't want to be behind the sticks at all. They've been so conservative and so passive with their offense. When they are throwing it, it is right next to the line of scrimmage. They want to just run the ball, stay at the head of the sticks, and like kind of trust their defense and play a ball control style and kind of grind out a 20-17 victory against you. Like that's how they want to play football. To get them out of that, what the Broncos are going to need to like get some turnovers, win the turnover battle in this game, like flip some things in their favor to create even the opportunities for those turnovers. I think you got to get the Eagles behind the sticks on a semi-regular basis. That means this pass rush getting wins early, but also this defensive front penetrating in the run game and tackling Saquon, who can be a boom or bust runner, tackling him for a loss of 1 or a loss of 2.
I think Zach hit the nail on the head there. The issue with it is, yes, the Broncos defensive line in a pass rush sense matches up great against the Eagles. The Eagles are just going to do everything to not put themselves in the situation where that happens, though, right?
Yeah.
That's the main thing about it. We see this with the Chargers too, right? The Chargers are a team that likes running the football, keeping everybody off balance up front. You don't know whether it's going to be a run or a pass, and more than likely you're going to have to play the run. So it's hard for these guys to get upfield, predict a pass play, everything like that. I don't know if it's going to be effective or not. It's going to have to be that the Broncos are controlling the Eagles' run game to the point where they do have to pass. Or like Zach said, if the Eagles get a holding call or something, and now it's 1st and 15, that's an area they don't want to play in, right? So you're gonna have to make them play behind the sticks or stop the run, something like that, to even get the opportunity to get your pass rush to win in this game.
I love it. I want to jump into a little bit of bold predictions, keys of the game, and score predictions as we close out this evening. Zach, I wholeheartedly agree. Momentum shifting going to be a large part of this game, this matchup. Mine was already going to be penalty driven because 7 for 72 yards doesn't seem so bad when you compare it to the, I believe, 11 that the Bengals had, but that's a sloppy team in peril, and the Broncos should be far exceeding expectations there. So they have to clean it up. They can't be sloppy. They have to use momentum. I'm struggling. I don't usually go for an offensive bold prediction. I usually stick on the defensive side of things, but I would say what a perfect opportunity to be convincing and for Bo Nix to find his stride with 3 touchdowns. I know not super bold, but it would be a first. And then one of those touchdowns will be in an explosive play because Philadelphia, I'm saying it like I'm a member of the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia cast. They struggle against explosive plays, and we've seen that happen. So I'm saying one of those touchdowns is from a 39 plus yard attempt downfield. Doesn't have to be a specific player, but 3 touchdowns and one being a long ball that connects. And maybe we don't see the same terrible fate as dropped balls have been and missed passes have been in the games past. So bold enough for you, Joey?
I'll take you up on it. Why not, Bree? I'm just here for taking up on people's bets nowadays. I think more times than not, my 2 podcast co-hosts on this are just wrong. So I'm just going to start taking up everything they do, except for it's Zach, because he likes shooting low every single time. So and then I have to talk him up, and then I have to go. But Bree, I'll take you up on it.
I will also take you up, Bree. This shtick drives me insane because it's the two-sidedness of Zach doesn't make any bold predictions paired with clearly they must be bold because I want to take him up on them every time. It drives me insane.
So it wasn't bold enough. I'd have to extend my yardage at this point. I'd have to call my shot on the player. All right, Marvin.
No,
Mims.
I said it was bold. I'm taking you up on it. I was saying
right.
Joey's nonsense. It drives me crazy, Bree. You're golden.
All right, Joey. It better be good.
Listen, I'm still trying to think of mine. Zach, go.
Okay, I got mine, and mine is good. I'm glad Joey gave that preamble about how mine aren't bold because this one's absolutely crazy. RJ Harvey attempts a pass to the end zone this week.
Wait, can you give me your logic here a little bit? Other than he played quarterback in his freshman
He played
year?
quarterback in college. I think Sean Payton won. Okay, so that's the first puzzle piece. Puzzle piece number 2. I think you guys will agree with me on all these for at least a few of these. Puzzle piece number 2. Sean Payton loves doing like goofy gadget stuff like Taysom Hill. He loves that shit. He loves finding a guy who's got a niche skill and like, yeah, how can I use that to do a thing? Marvin Mims and like the end around jet sweeps. I think he likes that gadgety element of a player, finding their mismatch capability. Okay, third piece of this, we just saw it against the Bengals. The little hint, right? They do the wildcat run with him. He didn't throw it, but they did the wildcat run. I think. Yeah, and this is far from unusual. You're getting that on tape this week. Also, they did that when this game was, I think, 21-3. Maybe it was 14-3, but I think they did that when it was 21. No, they were further out. They must have been 14-3, but They were in the driver's seat of this game. I don't know if you had to break out the trick play right there. I think you're getting that on tape. So Philly's seeing it and you're going, okay, watch out for that wildcat quarterback run game with RJ Harvey. This time around, you have some receivers go out for routes though, and drop it in over their heads. I know this is a long shot, but I think there's a pretty decent chance I'm right on it, and I will be the smuggest prick alive if I hit on this.
Well, I do have to say, Bree, it's about damn time Zach comes with something cold out here on the show. I do have to say that. It's about damn time. The running back throws a touchdown pass. That is what we're looking for. I will definitely take you up on this. Zach, I don't know what happened from this bold prediction to the last one, but boy, is it a 360. We need more of this.
I don't doubt it a whole ton, simply because I was in the group chat saying, I bet you Sean Payton's gonna run some damn trick play, and he did. I find that he would try to attempt something like this, and Zach, I think it's just so crazy that it might work. So I'm also taking him up on it.
Are you agreeing with the bet?
I'm agreeing.
So you're not taking me up on it. You're not.
This is crazy, Bree. Take him up on it. This
Joey is giving you solid.
No. Attempting a touchdown
pass to it has to be a touchdown.
No, it doesn't have.
He throws one to the end zone.
It has to be in the end zone. What happens when it's an incompletion at the one, Bree? Like, you got to really think through this, right?
If it's an incomplete, they still attempted it. We're talking about an attempt.
No. If it doesn't get past that goal,
the end zone.
If it's short, I'll say that wasn't. I'm saying it's a pass to because I think if you're doing it in the red zone and you're launching it there. Now,
but what if it goes to the 1 yard line? I'm taking it.
If it's on the 1 yard line, then you win. But if he can't get the ball there, unless it's like deflected, or if it's deflected, we'll have to legislate that out. But
no. If it's deflected, we're not.
Okay, fine. I won't count it. No. But
it's to the end zone.
I think what I'm building in is that I think, and you see the spot when we saw it with Chris Olave this week against the Bills. You ask a position player to throw a football, you could triple cover their target, you could quadruple cover their target, and they're going. I see a window, and they're throwing that shit. So I am building in the very healthy chance that Vic Fangio goes, hey, RJ Harvey was a quarterback in college. Watch out for this shit. And it's totally smothered. RJ Harvey throws it anyways, and it's an Andrew Makuba interception. I'm building in that potential, but it will be thrown to the end zone.
I'm so frustrated by this game, and just so that I can give everyone listening a little background.
I've written a paragraph explaining the rules for Bree.
There's a document that exists. And I just want to highlight the fact that because we're sitting here right now doing it out loud, I'm struggling because of my processing, but also as I'm thinking about it, I've been marking my name under things that I don't think are going to happen as a fade, correct?
Yeah. That's you're doing it the right way. I thought for a second, you were about to say you'd been doing it wrong this whole time. And
that's why I was asking,
because you were right. But if it was the other way, Bree, I would have laughed, but I would have been I think I would have lost my mind a little bit because I legitimately wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs just to like for Bree. Here's how I know this has been a hurdle. Here's how we can get over it together.
That's funny.
That's funny. So ridiculous.
I love you, Bree, so much.
I love you guys too, and I'm just glad I can share it with the world that I have possibly brain damage. I don't know. Joey, do you have a bold prediction?
I will say Saquon Barkley has under 50 all-purpose yards. Zach, you go first. Are you taking me up or no?
Under 50? Yeah, I'm taking you up on that. That's another bold one. I'll take that, Joey. He's going over 50.
Okay. Bree, what do you got?
Boomer bust. Tricky run defense. Saquon scares me at home. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it.
I'm just sitting here thinking that if I'm Vance Joseph, if there's only one person I really have to game plan against, it's Saquon Barkley. When
It's Jalen Hurts.
Fuck that. No, it's Saquon Barkley. I don't care about Jalen Hurts. He can do whatever the hell he wants down the field. I am manning these guys up. I am putting Riley Moss and Devonta Smith. I am putting Patrick Surtain on AJ Brown. And I'm saying Jalen Hurts, please, God, throw the ball. Please. Anything but a check down to Saquon Barkley or Saquon Barkley runs the football, we're in a great position to win. That's my strategy. And Saquon, so far this year, not great rushing stats. I don't know if the people have looked. Not great rushing stats. Control him in the passing game. Shout out to Alex Singleton. Everything I said earlier was a lie. I love you. We need to stop it.
You talking about the game planning to or have you guys seen the Court of Gold? I forget what it was called. I think it was Courts of Gold, where France is talking about how they're going to shut down Team USA and how they've got years of building chemistry and teamwork and all that stuff together. And Kevin Durant just laughs and goes, "Man, what's all that chemistry going to do for you when you have to guard Steph?" That's how I feel with the concept of game planning Alex Singleton to cover Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, there's more
that's
to
great.
it.
No, I don't know. What's all that game planning going to do when you need Alex Singleton to cover Saquon Barkley on a wheel route? I don't think it's going to do a whole lot for
you. You said the running back will throw a pass and ask it to land in the end zone. I don't want to hear anything from you. Like, you have lost your mind on this show. You could have just said RJ Harvey throws the ball, and I would have been like, okay. You said it has to be in the end zone. I don't know where that came from.
Well, I was going to say you threw a touchdown, but then I was like, I want to protect myself a little bit. But you're right. I could have gone a lot lower.
That's why I thought he was just saying he wanted to that RJ Harvey was going to make an attempt to throw the ball, like it could come tuck rolling out of his hand and it'd be considered a win.
No, if he does a Garo Yepremian, that doesn't count.
Fine. I am dreading this next tiny segment we have, and that's going to be score predictions. Look, at the end of the day, I think this is going to be hard. Oh, I don't like that noise from Zach. He's either figured out there's another loophole or he's picking the demise and he's going to have tomatoes thrown at him. Anyway, I'm going to continue with my prediction. I just typed it out. I'm going to go Eagles winning here, but it's going to be close, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be 28-27. I think that I have to do it in order for Nix to get his 3 touchdown passes. I think it's going to be close because this team and this matchup is just going to cause the Broncos to leave it all out on the field. But I think Philly's depth and ability to late game execute is going to really tilt the outcome. We haven't seen Denver be able to close consistently and close convincingly. And I think that this is going to be their opportunity. It's just unfortunately going to be in the favor of the home team. Joey.
Zach, you go first because I'm taking the Broncos if you're not.
Yeah, you know what? I won the score predictions game last year. Why not risk completely burying myself in this thing? I have not calculated the scores for the last couple of weeks. I do not think I'm doing well. But you know what? Why not go for it all? Either get a crazy turnaround here or lose. I also just have a gut feeling, you know, to Bree's point, they did struggle to close out that game against the Chargers and close out that game against the Colts. I think those also, and it got validated a little this week with the Colts against the Rams, that I think those are just like 2 of the better teams in the NFL so far this season, and taking them down to the wire on the road is probably more impressive than we're giving it credit for. I also think this Eagles team looks pretty flawed, and I think the Broncos are more of a 3-2 team than a 2-3 team, and the Eagles are more of a 4-1 team than a 5-0 team. And sometimes the NFL has a way of riding the ship and finding its level. And I think Broncos come away with a win here somehow, some way. No meatballs for Vic Fangio, 21-20.
Purely vibes.
I was going to go Broncos until you just mentioned my favorite play caller of all time. I'm going to go 28-24 Eagles in this one. I was joking about the play caller thing. I think the Eagles are just a really tough matchup for this Broncos team in this one, unless the offense just comes out and is a lot better than what they've shown so far. I mean, the Cincinnati game was a great start in that direction, but we just need to see it against like actual good opponents now. Cincinnati's defense wasn't it. So until they show me that, I'm going to go with the really good team, or the team that I know is really good. If the Broncos win this one, you're going to see some score predictions change in the future. But that's where I'm at right now.
Awesome. I love it. I'm back. I'm glad to be back amongst you two. I was going to say amongst you three, and then that would cause concern throughout all of our viewership. That's where we're at, Broncos country. Denver crushes the Bengals 28-3, maybe their most complete performance this season. They go on the road to face the Eagles. It's going to be a measuring stick competition, one they're going to need to play pretty decently at. We'll keep an eye on any sort of injury, returns, news, matchups, how Bo Nix handles Joey's favorite coordinator, Fangio's defense. If the Broncos pull this off, Broncos country is going to be talking about this team in a completely different light, and maybe they're going to have to loosen up a little bit on the play calling gripe. Stay tuned. We got full field read coming at you. Make sure that you check out altitude adjustment, which you would have seen yesterday. And look forward to breaking it down with you. Zach, will there be a post game after the Eagles game?
I am trying to find a fill-in for that right now because I don't think I will be available for it. So we will see. But I do just want to say to everybody, in honor of Vic Fangio, wish Teddy a happy birthday today, everybody.
Yeah,
wish it's Teddy's birthday today, everybody. Wish him a happy birthday.
The Broncos have been looking for their quarterback for a very long time. Thanks y'all for sticking with it. We're out of here. Go Broncos.